that the very thing that you're insecure about, and try to make it about the man, carry about that very thing. Man cares about his passion, his values, right? The reason being is because we all get judged for the things that we did in our past. It's going to be positive or negative, people are going to hold it against you. It's a skip accountability or judgment just because you don't like it. That's not how this shit works. Every decision you make as a person comes with the consequence, whether it be small or large. And in this case, giving a body up freely has never ever been positive benefits towards that. If you want to give yourself to the streets, that's your God-given right. By all means, you can choose your decisions, you just can't choose your consequences. Things are easily accessible and never gain any respect from men. So I'm not sure why you're even bothering putting up this fight, because I'm sure you can respect me the heart. And we'll just work with this together. That's not exactly what your body counts is, because you don't think it matters. That can change.
It counts like the universe.
Then I found a debt release program better likely.
Oh, Mama. She is so over it.
Water!
I didn't give her a break. She's not gonna stop. Girl, hang in there, Mama. It gets easier. Oh, Mama. She is so over it.
Billionaires are getting on their planes and they are fleeing the United States like right now because a young girl named Evangeline figured out how to unredact the redacted Epstein files, and it's absolutely wild.
Get rid of that.
And this is the other thing, is that you know how people always like to say that the entire idea that these type of migrants and immigrants are positives inside.
So right now, all over the world, there are tens of thousands of people combing through all the redacted files that have been released by the DOJ, copying and pasting and getting rid of the redaction, opening up an absolute can of worms. There are so many rich and powerful people who are right now, literally, as I speak, being exposed as PDFs, and they are going to be in big trouble, because how do you clean this up now? How does the DOJ come back and say, oh, this is fake, this is that? No, we've got the unredacted files that you've done screwed up. Mess around and find out when you start putting stuff out there, because it's go time, people. Billionaires are getting on their planes and they are fleeing the United States like right now because a young girl named Evangeline figured out how to unredact the redacted Epstein files, and it's absolutely wild.
If you have been a capitalist apartment, you've been getting robbed off. They owe you money. They got sued for $465 billion. And here's the craziest part. Like that you simplified a man's contribution to yours definitely just make bills.
Please use logic and make it make sense, because there is figure out who said was believe that it was a flex. So remember to a man that is this thing is because women get married and they start cleaning, packing lunches, serving men, washing his clothes, throwing them away.
Then men start cutting the grass, grilling on Saturdays, fixing things around the house, paying for dinner dates and vacations, and taking care of any situation that has to do with the household chores.
They feel as though they have to lower their own estate to dress differently over a man.
So talking about and addressing any kind of ways of women's identity, just needs to be no perspective. We don't promote and address honesty, because we also understand that clothes are expressive and they can draw the wrong kind of attention.
When they don't see women working full-time jobs and helping pay the bills, right? The crazy thing is they're not equal, and you're doing the exact same thing. What does you work in the side bills?
Well, sweetheart, there's your first mistake. You are in a situation like that. These are conversations you should have had before you had your kids. There should have been a detailed conversation and an agreement between you before you decide to have kids or you get married that must live together. By the way, that has nothing to do with marriage. That's just an imbalanced relationship between two people.
Men try to see what back his first life and then he because raising children, cooking, cleaning, and all which is a job. You should just view women as these pieces of property and not people. But if you go and live on your own, and you want someone to do those things for you, you will probably multiple different people, and it will give them complete power.
Yeah, I think I understand. You want women to be compensated for doing the things that they were supposed to do in the first place, like the family. She can have her own kids. She should be compensated for that. She wanted kids. You know what? Since we're on the topic of compensation, that man needs to be compensated for protecting their household. He needs to be compensated for fixing the things around the house. He needs to be compensated for doing any mechanical work to any of the cars, whether it be changing tires, anything, because those are all household jobs. That's where you cannot make this shit up. Now we're not doing that. Remember the beginning of the video where you said, hey, explain it to me and don't insult me. We expect the same thing in return.
I really don't think it's not that it's just something that needs to change. No, it can be multiple different people for this.
Bad deals exist on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to dating for men. It is your job to negotiate the terms of the contract that you are going to sign. If you're going to go 50-50 with somebody, you talk about everything, not just business. You have to simplify 50-50 down to just bills. It takes way more to contribute to a household. There should be no reason why one person's in a marriage to want to work. I cannot feel sorry for a woman that signed a bad deal. No different from if a man signed a bad deal with a woman. Yeah, right? That's what we talk about. I don't feel sorry for us. Why their wife lives just a lavish life. You know, it's just such a big provider man or a real man who works a lot of yard. When it's all said and done, please read the contract before you fucking sign it. Know what you're getting yourself into before you decide to marry somebody, let alone have kids. That can change. Expressions of those.
People are finally starting to figure out that soccer is one of the most non-dirty characters in all of anime, and honestly, this took way too long. The studio responsible for animating Naruto had a clear agenda against Sakura because they added in so many scenes that were never in the manga to make Sakura look intentionally bad. For example, this one right here in the training set. In the anime, Sakura is smiling and laughing over the fact that Naruto is having a difficult time. Meanwhile, in the manga, Sakura is genuinely worried that Naruto is struggling on this test. In the anime, when Team 7 is attacked on their first mission, Sakura is the one who saves Naruto's life. Meanwhile, in the anime, they even removed scenes like this where Sakura is talking about Naruto's dream of being Hokage and says that even though it's crazy, she doesn't want it taken away from him. In the anime, she asks herself, if Sasuke and Naruto were hurt badly, which one would I save first? Meanwhile, this never happens in the manga, and she simply says she'll save both of them. Even Boruto continues to do her dirty, because it makes it seem like her and Shin are on the same level of strength. Meanwhile, the manga makes it very clear that Sakura can end the fight whenever she wants and is intentionally keeping Shin alive so they can question him. And this is just scratching the surface. There are hundreds of more scenes that Studio Pyra has either added in or smoke, all with the intention of making Sakura look like a worse character and making her even more hated. Dirty characters in all of anime, and honestly, this took way too
Veterans rated at 90%, it's out on $1,100. 1,000 veterans stuck in underrated, fully concentrated. You won't be writing about your claims unless it's 2 weeks. Stop waiting. Now to get the card without even having banned by small. Veterans rated at 90%, it's out on $1,100.
We've helped thousands of veterans get jobs in tech making $10K or more a month without spending 4 years in college. And here's how. Hello, my name is Terry Kim, U.S. Air Force veteran and founder and CEO of a post-military IT training vocational school called NGT Academy. We've invested over $10 million into proprietary IT military training framework and learning platform. Because of our partnership with International American University, veterans can use their military benefits, That means we can train you on all the skills, the projects, and the certifications to help you land your dream IT job. The best part, you pay zero for pocket. If you're interested to hear more, on the next page, we've created a short, free, informational video explaining. Tap the Learn More button below now, and let's see if we can change your life. We've helped thousands of veterans get jobs in tech making 10K or more without spending 4 years in college. And here's how. Hello, my name is Terry Kimms, U.S. Air Force veteran and founder and CEO of a post-military IT training vocational school called NGT Academy. We've invested over $10 million into our proprietary IT military training framework and learning.
We're not really serious about there.
Water of death! Raging wave! Water of death! Water of death! Raging wave! Water of death! Water of death! From the heavens above! Water of death! Water of death! Raging waves! Raging waves! Water of death! From the heavens above! Water of death! Raging waves! Yeah! Water of death! From the heavens above! Water of death! Water of death! Raging wave! From the heavens above! Water of death!
So you have these independent journalists that are going over just fucking figuring this out. Trump recently found the pages of the Epstein files. Knowing
Raging wave!
this is no volume is bad, right? I don't know. So the Somalis are legally here, they can go. Some of them are residents, some of them are citizens. In my opinion, even if they're a citizen, if they were an immigrant, I think that if they were found to be a person with water here, they should be naturalized and sent them back to Somalia. They came from us. And I think this is a very useful position to have. I'm not China, and I said, I immigrated to China, and I don't
Water of death!
this entire idea that like, oh, you can't do this, yeah, you can. You shouldn't do it. It's easy. You just do it. So I think it's very simple. That's our standard. I think these are weird, fluid standards that are determined. And that's it. They play and they try. Oh, in China, they yeah, that's what I said. I talked to them.
Water of death!
It's time to pass like future.
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous what's happening. It is. Now listen, true, yeah, well, I'm glad to see everybody agreeing with this. Technical fan purpose with that. Yes, there we go. And it's good to see. And it's going to be a nationality system in China. I don't know how it is or not. How do they solve that? I mean, like, I don't know.
Water of death!
The daily exposed as a simply Democrat on social media, CNN, Times, DOJ, FBI, DHS, and the entire cast of 60 Minutes combined. This is amazing. That's right. And that's here's the secret a lot of people don't want to admit, but you can just simply do things. And I really have those secrets definitely continuous. It takes time in order for things to expand with more success. Yeah, that's what that might be.
Spring never ends.
From the heavens above! Water of death! Raging wave!
Investigation and spanned the course of a very long time about a people who have worked very closely in the ecosystem for years. There is a YouTube Darwin's
Water of death!
Shady things that and I don't want to translate that video. I'm sure you probably have already seen it because it was such a huge deal. Even outside just the YouTube space, it was a really big thing. Because this is a multi-billion-dollar company that was engaging in some really complicated tactics that really tapped on the line for what is and is not illegal in the company. So many civil lawsuits since.
Raging wave!
Recently dismissed, but it's not really dismissed, it's pending and maybe still, even that one gets printed out and thrown in the wastebasket. Next one of media, there's a lot still out there being pushed against big company. People see this one on the man, there is so many situations where because a ton of people feel like they have been
Water of death!
I go back evidence and just released his part 2 of the follow-up, which goes even deeper and exposes and also starts talking about it from these small businesses that are being affected that are just being allegedly here. This assisted hopefully of horseradish, I would say, trying to silence him because he's really the evidence is very strong. I would recommend check out the
Water of death!
I think we need to see what it's going to be. That was one of the components. This was one of the big things outside of like obviously consumers not exactly getting what they thought they were, I think, is the affiliates. So creators that work with money that would have their own special deals to promote to their audience, for them to use those codes on the website. But
Water of
so that sale, it would take the commission that's supposed to go to the creator, and they would take the commission. There were a lot of cases that Megalabs went into a tutorial video shows even stronger evidence for how this actually functions, where it seems to be a component of money itself, where you like your little inject itself, and it is looking to make that condition really stubborn shit. And I know after the first video, people thought creators can suck my dick and what was required for the increased disturbing and okay, that's your prerogative. I'm not looking down, I'm not going to education or whatever, that's fine. But in this second part of the video, you can
PayPal's also insist that in the place of agreeing to take down my video, I got copyright infringement. Instead of a direct attack against my fundamental rights as an independent journalist. PayPal has specifically taken issue with the fact that an anonymous source started to let their source code exposed within their iOS app, which we know it alone is the system. This anonymous source found the code and sent it to me. I reviewed the code for security research purposes, which is a protected act. And I will publish relevant sections of the code context of the story, which I consider within the realm of public interest.
I haven't seen the effect for that in the video here where the source code was probably had the video components that showed, I suppose, sections of that when it was relevant. But it seems like it was more so a convenient excuse for PayPal to get the video taken down from his Patreon. And in order to get around that, the YouTube video will just took the entire section. Again, I had seen with my own videos now whatever with the the sort of section but just based off of like the small bits, apparently it wasn't even that long, it feels like it's a pretty flimsy thing to try and like strike it down with I even further through all of the things that you're about to I never like to do something like this. Of course, there is like
Water of death!
The cease and desist. And it doesn't really actually slow this here, especially considering it seemed like he was very reserved with what was displayed from the source code based on how he speaks about it. And I can't say what he was uncertain. I just find it hard to believe that PayPal was acting in good faith with the cease and desist. That seems like they're trying to
causing serious
Water of death!
And the receipts are pretty convincing, so those are like the main components of this new video. This is an hour-long video. This shit is deeper than my bosom. It is a very good look at all of it, and I know after the first video people have a lot of questions. I feel like here this sheds even more light on it. It's even deeper analysis of
Water of death!
It's not just getting the data so it can be more easily more accessible. So that way he doesn't have to make any like leaping conclusions or anything. He doesn't have to just like start trying to put on a blind off, just fucking hunch or intuition. He's able to look at these things much closer in order to draw a much stronger analysis from it. It really is quite the deep dive, and like I said, I don't want to like show just a ton of his video. I would really like you to go watch it yourself, because I think it is eye-opening stuff. I want to focus on just a couple of things here that I know a lot of people debated after the first video. Like, why should anyone that's not a creator or a business owner care? Also share
Raging Wave!
I think that the business owners that this video is it explains why this is a big deal, why it is not only responsibilities that are not consented to making money that are kind of being forced to without even their knowledge something. I grapple them with receipts, email exchange, with PayPal money directly. It is with a
Water of death!
Even if you're not hungry, if you're judged by well,
it's still a person. And it's a very simple reason how.
During Hooker's future, politically suffer a devastating impact. These actions have had a very small business. And you can't always do it in business. You always do
Water of death! Raging wave! Water of death!
That is a great explanation. I think that's very valuable. It's like that is even that right now, it's feel like you do that. It's this
Raging wave!
this is game obviously one of the is how brands
Water of death!
As he said, this which they
Raging wave!
well, they're going to have to make up for that loss sooner. And that is raising prices. That's how those are. Even if it's 2%, they're going to have to raise prices of 5% that year. And they're starting like that, which is since that and something like that, it's a course. So that is a huge thing. That is how it actually it is a bad deal for everything all here.
Water of death!
And you never see there's a whole new clip. See, check out and put it on the right in the series. It must have been for me. Instead, responsible and thanks for reaching out. I support the big business online and experience users support skills I mean, what kind of that is like optimize the experience for our users. This depends. Once, let's discuss how we can work more closely at the heart of your brand. Ship replies the same day. We offer affiliate deals to coupon sites. We'd like to be removed from the site being sketchy.
Showcase just have to he is putting it cleaning he's just
Raging wave!
okay. It's like a fucking telemarketer that the user people it reaches out to the guys spray paint, which is something that earlier in the video, very slowly, the thing that happens super unusual, which is a thing that they do
Water of death!
Even though they didn't want to be there in the first place, they were fighting to this movie, yet now they don't have a choice.
Water of death!
That was an attack on the side of people. That was never much anyway. So talking on making it happen. Who responds to be good? Then we know
Raging wave!
most of the place to be removed. It's really it's
Water of death! Water of
And there was a very people were entertaining discounts on the site because of that. And not everything at the purchase site. Well, honey, if you're out there, honey seems to just be subjecting you to this.
Water of death!
And he's by partnering with Honey and basically exclude that person. Which is something that it's a good thing. Like,
Water of death!
So they like they ditch soccer and they go to them. This is like what are you doing about that? You know, if you're gonna take over the booze, he's missing the people.
From the start!
Finally addresses the issue. He was like a strange contract or it became the same thing which was in there. The win. sales is
Bill Knight.
It's pretty hard to argue that there is the same person and also
Flowers.
From the start! Raging way!
Flowers fade.
Water of death!
It is like a crazy
From the heavens!
They go to the Full Extension and flee at the cost of what and 9 times out of 10, the response is join our affiliate program and you'll have more great. And so I think merchants tend to feel that as though they're being blackmailed or extorted, because you join the affiliate program and then you have to pay that coupon extension fee every time somebody uses the code. And you're doing that in order to have them not share your code.
That beautifully explains just how scummy this model is, where it does appear that these small businesses feel forced to join these programs here with companies like PayPal, because if they don't, they might keep having a problem. But by joining that company, they're not exactly all that much better off, because now they're going to have to make those affiliate payments there. So like it is just a lose-lose for the businesses. Now, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that section here. Again, I think you should watch the whole video. I do want to touch on where he gets into like the Mr. Beast component, which is in the thumbnail, and something that was mentioned at the start of the video about like how people that have been strategically targeting players in certain instances based on who they partnered with, like Mr. Beast, and there were a couple other examples of this, and why that might not exactly be completely illegal, allegedly, because there is laws about collecting data on minors. And through his investigation, with very, very strong evidence, including some of PayPal Honey's own information that they themselves have talked about, they do collect your data. They do seemingly share your data. And in the video, there's even a brief clip where someone is talking about the benefits of Honey's data collection. So even though they explicitly advertise they don't do any of that weirdo shit like collecting and sharing your data or anything like that, the truth of it is that they do collect your data. And to their merchants, they even do brag about how much data they have, and they do share that data. Megalag had a lot of very compelling evidence to prove that fact. I feel like it's pretty obvious, given everything that is accessible, that they do indeed collect that. I'll go ahead and show you that brief clip there. and then we'll get into like how the marketing to minors may be a big issue for Honey.
For their partnered merchant. And then discussing the benefits of Honey's data for their partnered merchants.
You know, one of the metrics that we assess very frequently for merchants that work with Honey is, cross-store shopping. So, how many other stores is the user visiting as well as the store in question? They go to 6 stores, they go to 7 stores, they go to 10 stores before they make a decision on where to purchase.
And here's another from the senior partnerships manager.
So like one of the things we have insight into with Honey, because we're a browser extension, we can see our shoppers and how they shop, is that shoppers love to cross-site comparison shop. We're really kind of following the shopper where they go, and we're with them every step of the way. We have all sorts of tools to make those consumers stickier to their direct consumer brands.
And here's a former PayPal executive discussing how beneficial the data is.
Running low on flour and
We've got a
vanilla.
whole suite of solutions across our consumer platforms
And go to
that
the
help
weekly
drive
bazaar and
new
charge the
customers,
market to
help
resell.
drive loyalty, help drive conversion, and ultimately sales. And we have a lot of analytics and a lot of data,
Hey there.
a lot of shopper data, obviously, and that's something that we can unlock on behalf of our partners.
PayPal and Drive truly mastered the art of selling bullshit narratives. To users, they promise privacy, insisting, hey, we never sell or share your data. To their merchants, they literally bragged about how much of your data they had and how it could be leveraged to provide them with valuable insights into your shopping habits.
I think we can say with a pretty high level of confidence that PayPal Honey does certainly collect your data and is more than willing to share it. So that whole claim they like to make, and even as part of some of the marketing about, we don't collect your data and we certainly don't share that data or sell it or anything like that. Something like that might have been a big load of hooey. Now, as it relates to being potentially an issue when it comes to like
Viewer merchant and
targeting some advertising, is what I briefly mentioned earlier, where there are laws in place about collecting data on minors. There is a whole host of laws in regards to that subject, and we're about to hear Megaline explain it, but the core issue is, based on some of their ads they were releasing with partners, as well as who they were partnering with for some of these ads, it does seem like they were directly trying to target Honey through minors.
This new
Which means
batch of
they
lumber
would be
isn't
collecting
great.
data on minors through having this browser extension on their devices.
It's potentially illegal in numerous jurisdictions. Many countries have very strict regulations when it comes to the collection of personal data from minors, and for good reason. Therefore, if you intend on having minors use your product, many jurisdictions require that you obtain parental consent first. But this adds all kinds of technical and legal complexities, which is why many platforms simply limit the use of the service to adults only in their privacy policy, which is Honey's approach, making him Honey's #1 sponsor. In fact, according to my data, Mr. Beast sponsorships represent over 1/3 of Honey's total sponsored views on YouTube. But it wasn't just Mr. Beast. Honey sponsored many channels whose content was, in my opinion, totally targeted for minors. He sponsored Minecraft channels, Roblox channels, cartoon channels. I mean, just watch this video.
If you're looking to get minors to use Honey, why would they sponsor something like Mr. Beast or these new things where there's a quick snippet of Roblox, Minecraft, and it is true. I'm not sure that's like an objectively true statement. And Roblox is predominantly that it doesn't care what we do, which is that we're trying to get money in front of the eyes of minors and trying to install it on their browser.
If Honey wanted to target the minors so badly, then he would just sponsor them. And exactly what they did. This lady would give them as great a child. At the time, it was just 14 years old. Right. Only 14, hilariously, one of their videos that Honey sponsored is a properly titled whose skull
look at that outpatient, if you were convinced before, I imagine that was convincing that's pretty dim. They literally sponsored a trial to put and even used her sponsored segment as a paid advertisement across YouTube. I think there is a very strong argument and strong evidence to suggest Honey was looking to get honey on the devices of children, and knowing what we know now based on this evidence, it was collecting their data, which is a big legal issue potentially.
Every computer in your house
To win.
They are literally encouraging kids to install browser extensions that extracts and collects data into every computer in the household, including those belonging to the insane. I mean, come on!
That is a bad week for this disease indeed. It does seem pretty clear that we are overruling to advertise news, and this is a browser extension that, based on all available evidence, does indeed track data and share data, which, again, appears to be a lot of laws in place that have very strict rules about that when it comes to the data collection of minors. So I guess we'll see what happens from there. Again, this is still not even all of what Michael's at. I've only chosen a few things to talk about here. I just cannot. But I cannot recommend it because it is really surprisingly done. It's a very, very suspicious and shady business that appears to have a lot going on under the hood here that is not very good. And the business model itself is bad for everybody, not just creators, not just businesses, and not just Honey users, but any online shoppers in general. They have a negative effect on it. It's a bad deal across the board based on everything that has been presented here. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about it for now. That's really about it. See ya.
Treasure basin! Treasure basin! What are you doing? Whoa, hold on.
Alright, you tell me it's real. Someone's been watching and listening and looking for being able to Amen.
Hey, you punk! Hey, you
Greed
punk!
is destroying the world. You know what's funny? I bet there was a guy that said this 3,000 years ago. I do really think it's true, though. It is. I think the root of all evil is scarcity. And scarcity and greed are
Hey,
very
what are you
tied
doing?
together.
I feel like for the past 3 years, I've heard over and over again that a recession is about to hit. The stock market is going to crash. The housing prices are going to come back down to earth any day now. And yet somehow all of these things keep not happening. For most people, it doesn't.
I think the stock market in practice has crashed for the average person because the average person is so disconnected from the gains in the stock market.
What
But
are you
that's like
doing?
more of a complex thing to say.
Sense. What do you mean the economy's good? My dentist just tried to get me to sign up for a credit
Exactly.
card. Since the pandemic, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Inflation is out of control.
Yep.
Groceries have never
These
been
are all the
more
graphs I show you guys. See this? Hey?
Layoffs
Yeah, shit.
are happening at an alarming rate.
Yep.
At this point, a college degree might be more likely to get you into crippling debt than it is to help you find a job. And even if you have savings, you're more than likely one stroke of bad luck away from losing it all to Medicaid. People look you right in the eyes and tell you, I don't know what you're talking about. The numbers are green.
This is the same shit Yes, exactly. Because it's not representative of the average person. Yes.
The problem is each of these people are kind of correct in their own way. This is the best the economy has ever been. If you already if you bought a house 5 years ago, there's a chance it's already doubled in value. If you invested in the S&P 500 in 2021, you could be up as much as 80%. And that's not like saying,
Yeah, I made a lot of money. It's good.
you know, you'd be rich if you just bought Bitcoin in 1973. That's just a regular stock. You didn't need to have some genius level of foresight to be able to do that. You just needed to
already have a bunch of cash sitting around. And obviously for the overwhelming majority of people, that is not the case. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not thinking about the stock market.
Well, this is the problem, is that poor people can't take advantage of and enjoy the fruits of their labor whenever it's basically only realized in terms of stock value. Like, they don't have enough money to even enjoy that benefit. It doesn't even happen.
In your 20s, you haven't even been working long enough to save any money to invest. You don't
Not to mention, you have no idea how to do it because school doesn't teach you how to do it.
Benefit from rising home equity if you don't own a house. The only thing this graph represents to you is how much further away that dream is getting. The average age of
that graph represents how much you like communism.
home buyers is 59 years old. What a depressing
59?
This is the Jesus. That disproportionately benefits asset holders instead of the people still trying to earn. Wealth grows exponentially, but wages aren't even outpacing inflation, which means if you're starting less and going up every year, you're effectively making less money.
What are you doing?
The fastest way to
That's one of the things that people don't understand, is that even sometimes when you get a wage, if you get a 10% wage, but the cost of everything goes up by 20%, well, you just lost 10% of your fucking money. This is the thing a lot of people don't get. And I think that it's intentional that people don't understand this. This is maybe a conspiracy, Andy, from me. But I've always thought that people in America were intentionally miseducated, so they were never able to identify and have problems with the actual, systems like this that are effectively oppressing the fuck out of them.
$1 million is to just already have 10 million. Leave it in an investment account for a year, and congratulations, you now have 11 million. On a larger scale, this is why it feels like there's two different economies happening, and they're both moving in opposite directions. 50%.
Exactly. I've been saying this before. I'm so fucking validated right now. I'm so happy.
Percent of the stuff
Exactly.
by the top 1%.
Yes.
Only 1% is owned by the bottom 50%.
Yep.
Don't let somebody tell you that these numbers going up should discredit your own lived experience.
Because it's not true. And you ask anybody, it's obviously not fucking true. This is the problem. Everybody says, oh, but look at the study, look at the graph, look at the statistic. That is like Reddit-tier intelligence. If you can't understand what that statistic means, how the numbers were arrived at, and then synthesize it with the way that your life is, you're just a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're being taken advantage of. And by the way, that's the reason why they all want you to trust the science. Oh, trust the science. Trust the experts. Yeah, because the experts are going to feed you a bunch of lies while you live in your mom's house because you can't afford a fucking apartment even though you're working full time. And then all your money goes to paying off your student debt that the interest is accruing faster than your payments are. You're just fucked.
Somebody who's benefited from untaxed inheritance or years of compound interest rather than passive income tell you that your problem is you're just not working hard enough. The real answer is sorry, you should have been born sooner.
Yeah, you should have. And the other thing, too, that, this is one of the other issues that I do have with some of these videos, is that there's, an element of it that's a defeatism. There are people that in 10 years, they're 20 now, and in 10 years they'll be 30 and be millionaires. If you work hard, there is a chance that you will be successful. And whatever the chance of you being successful not working hard is, it will be higher than that. So it doesn't matter whether, but it's rigged, it's not fair, or anything else, it's luck. I think that there's a lot of things, luck is a factor, but people that work hard get lucky more often. Not anymore. Here's a good example. Can you guys name a streamer that lives and we didn't know the name? It was very
The win.
I think Peanut's a good example. That's what I'm talking about. Is that you know somebody, and everybody says, well, streaming, you can't get into streaming anymore. There will be somebody who you know their name next year who didn't believe it. And the truth is that working hard is your best to being successful. But it's also not guaranteed. But it's certainly a much higher chance than a big
bad. Canadians are wasting that kindergarten class. They should have been investing in movies.
That's right.
It's not my fault you're saying parents should every direction. Thinking that it's somehow all they're dragging paper. They don't.
That's right.
The economy.
And then they will understand.
Right now, this segue extremely random video stream. You think I like looking at sponsored by yeah, before I did this video, you probably connected with me. Are you hearing me? Anytime you connect with me, especially when you're on my consider using the virtual private network for an extra
You should have used this as a sales pitch by saying that, so if things increasing in price, you can use more VPN for price of I think this would have been a better sales pitch, but that's okay.
Dangerous ads, check for downloading files for malware. It can even warn you if you stumbled onto a fake online shop before you try to buy something that doesn't actually exist. You may think you're way too smart to fall for something like that, but not. Take it from me, it could happen to anyone. Much smarter than a VPN allows you to unlock websites and content that may be restricted in your area.
So, like, for example, I don't know why I got reminded of this, but like in Texas, there's like porn websites that are blocked. So you can just use a VPN.
In your virtual location in the app, you can essentially trick the internet into thinking that that's where you are,
right?
Unlocking that show, movie, or YouTube video so randomly got blocked in 98 countries for some reason in process. Good exclusive deal for extra. Also, clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code in the description. Don't scan me. That's that. That's second. The economy still has for a moment. The GDP is still number is going up. But the only reason the GDP is still going up is because of the AI industry. That's the only reason that even looks as good as it does is because a handful of companies
are they're human centipedeing themselves. Yes.
Passing money back and forth. There's no recession.
Yes.
You're hallucinating. Because the AI industry is a single really bad score. Worst case scenario, turns out it is all bullshit. The bubble pops in spectacular fashion. Trillions of dollars of investments cannot get paid out, and everything goes up. Worst case scenario, a few billionaires getting rich.
I need to be billionaire. I think this is what I learned from videos that I need to be billionaire. It seems like they have a whole lot of there's a lot of good things that happen. Yeah, same. Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't count as a
not going to kill AI. It's not going to happen. AI is inevitable. The entire, like, this premise that you can kill AI if there's enough YouTube videos about it. Do you think that fucking gives a shit about your YouTube video? Fuck them. Do you think that Jensen and NVIDIA cares that there's a tweet that says AI is bad? Fuck them. That Elon Musk, I was gonna do AI, but I see there's a cat girl on Twitter that says it's bad. It's gonna happen. The only thing that you can do is to prevent AI from this is the best case scenario is that AI takes everybody's jobs, and then the companies that incorporate and use AI are taxed at a higher rate, and that money is then redistributed to the people whose jobs were displaced by AI. And this is obviously done because obviously all of their data and information and everything, like the AI would never be, and I think this is fair, by the way. This is very fair, and here's the reason why it's fair. Is that without all the data and resources and technology that the previous people who were working built and created, the AI would have never had the tools in order to take advantage of their job. So the AI was trained by their job, and I think that because of that, they deserve a part of the fruits of that labor. Because it was based off of it. I think that's very fair. Like, how that happened. Everybody's kind of slave, and I turned into batteries, and maybe we'll have a new flag. But, that's what I was it's currently being used to make that no bang digitally necromancer grammar. Let's digitally necromancer grammar so she can tell us why VPN. Thank God. Please. Come on, Dad. Look at David. There it is.
David.
Don't you know?
David, our son. Very nice.
Other David. Also our son. Yeah, let's get it for a minute. 2 minutes. The main appeal of it comes from corporations who see advancements in AI as a way to further reduce their dependence on human labor. The only thing cheaper than outsourcing jobs is just eliminating them altogether. The wet dream that soils the sheets of every CEO is a company that's somehow run entirely on itself. That's right. They can just sit back and collect all the profits from like all we do. The pesky labor laws, insurance. Flipping is not even a program to have the word union in its training. It does not know what unions are. It doesn't know what PTO is. It doesn't know workers' comp. It has no idea what it is. Can I have Saturday off? Yeah, that's right. No! Shut up! That's the eventual. Yep. Why they're all pouring billions of dollars into NVIDIA chips and data centers. This is inevitable. It's inevitable. You can't stop it. It's for Mark Zuckerberg. And in the meantime, whatever belief, even if it's incredibly this fatty is trying to steal it. Oh, I bet they're spoon on red-handed. Look at this, you guys can't see it here. 172,000 likes. Now, what website is this on? I know it. Everybody knows it.
Remain.
Thinking you can't say what I think is that they're being racist. Negative about being that.
The win.
He's just simply not even if you don't use these, you can't stop it. And every single website and company will now use user interactions and user data as a valuable, quantifiable resource that's then sold as a data package. So you're going to effectively have to stop using the entire internet. Like using YouTube, for example. Here's a great example right here. Is that if I pull this up and I look at, let's see, so in a lot of cases, these captions are generated automatically. I can guarantee you that you can probably go and do a translation into 10 other languages that he didn't. And so the truth is that even by making videos on YouTube, you are indirectly contributing to this problem. There is no way that you can interact with people on the internet that does not directly feed Roku passings. A lot of people are investigating data centers that are popping up.
possible. For example, as a resident of New Jersey who should use power bill electricity that used well, it turns out it's used to an overall supply. Basically, in the past several years, electric has been skyrocketing.
I need to buy some of these data centers myself. I see you can make a lot of money on them. I talked to somebody about this recently.
Tell you is going up because Elon Musk wants to pretend
That's right. Because he pretends to have a girlfriend, he doesn't have another baby mama who's making tweets about him all the time complaining.
just existing. Certain amount of electricity, certain amount of time, which then requires water to hosting a building to move over 1 million gallons per day.
Never think.
10,000 people. This would be the most popular as much people water is scarce. So we should be good.
I've been with the desk once.
What?
AI is still a relatively new phenomenon. That's why the department has received by data centers. Just the next year.
Surely it's not going to go up more after that.
If we get to pay for it, we do. It's hard for me to accurately express how infuriating this is. The giant building. That's right.
That's right. That's it.
Subsidized. We just happen to live with. Okay.
Yeah, and also they're paying for it with their power bills. Did you see? Did you see they were pumping out toxic gases to the town in Memphis? What?
Spring never ends.
Recycling for a living. I'm sure there's probably like I mean, I really just don't know that. Like, I don't know enough about it. I just don't. Like, I don't want you guys to tell me either, because I'm not going to believe anything that somebody says. It depends. I think that's really important. Is that some of them do, some of them don't. The better built ones don't. The bad built ones probably do. So yeah, maybe.
Because they're technically contributing to the operating cost. So does that mean that they get to share in the eventual profit? Now, of course, more like involuntary investment, doing it for free.
We're slaves.
Right, by the deafening endlessly emitting from the factory shoved into the backyard of their homes that have now surely plummeted in value as a result.
But hey, I do think that, like, I mean, this is one of the things, like, for example, like, I think it's really annoying if you have, like, a dog that's, like, barking and it's really loud in, like, a house or a neighborhood or an apartment building. And I think that really, whenever you're making so much noise at a regular basis, like, everybody knows that somebody has a block party. It's like, okay, you're not going to call the cops about that. But the problem is that if your block party is going on 24/7, and your block party is basically the heartbeat of a computer, and you can just hear it all day, every day, you're going to get people that are living around it that are going to start vibrating. And they're going to be fucking mad.
Is they're doing all of this?
NC just passed a bill to make residents pay for more electricity to fund the building operation of new plants for data centers. Yep. It's happening. It's happening. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
And make a product that hopes to replace 80% of humanity. It's not.
Probably 90.
Everything.
That's right.
They can so easily afford to pay for these things without even noticing that money.
Yes.
But why would they do it? When they could simply have poor people pay for it instead. Because nothing will ever be enough for them. You know, when a rich person makes some shady deal to screw over the working class.
Yep. Give me a second. I've got to refresh this. My thing is fucked up. And I want to make sure my internet's okay. Okay, this is good. I apologize. me see if I can get this to work. Because my chat stopped. And I want to make sure that my stream is stopped. Let me go back and double check. Am I good? I'm good, right? Yes, that's good. I don't know why, it's like a weird pop-up and it just wasn't working. I'll try to open it up again in a minute and see if I can get it to start. Sorry about this, we just had a weird little hiccup. But things seem to be improved. Alright, now we're back.
Right here. Trips, gifts, holidays, and expenses come with a cost, like high-interest credit card balances. With Rocket Mortgage, clients save an average of $500 a month by using their home's equity to consolidate debt. With our fully digital application, it's simple to start the new year feeling ready for what matters most. Outsmart your credit card debt with Rocket Mortgage.
Next time you make a move, make sure it's a power move. Switch to Total Wireless with the full power of America's best 5G network. You get iPhone 16e with Apple Intelligence. Plus, you get the best iPhone 16e deals and everything. Now that's Total Power. The band shiny, really blue watch. Classic supply chains. Mark, you know. A video.
Little joke that they just need that money to buy to make some shady deal to screw over the working class. People will joke that they just need that money to buy their yacht.
Right.
I don't even think it's that. They could buy a
Touch me, boy. Don't touch me, boy. Hello. What you want to get at? I'm blind. Man. I can't see. I'm blind, man. And I need you. I ain't
The blight of insatiable greed, cursed to an endless pursuit of wealth that will never bring them true happiness. I would almost feel bad for them.
I think this is a bit of an exaggeration. I think that a lot of them, like, in some cases, it's not necessarily this, like, massive existential emotional problem. They just like building the business and they just want to make it bigger for no reason other than to make it bigger, right? I don't think it really has to. There doesn't always have to be like a psychological component to it. They could just like building businesses. But in a general sense, yeah, there's a point where enough is enough.
Worship, destroying the world is a concept.
Yeah,
no problem. About this problem. If you even try to suggest it, these guys have a little bit less money. You guys are pretty rich, whatever. Just turn it down a notch because you're making shit terrible for everybody else. You're Twitter because you're, please, no, this is the American way. If you don't like it, then leave. If these ideas aren't radical, you're not even new. Most people who advocate for a more progressive tax system are only calling for a return to something that used to exist in 1990. We just forgot. So I think it's important to do it.
This is true, by the way. All this is actually
history. If you can believe it, there would be
he's good.
Where's the other roosters?
had it really good. Yeah, since the things got so bad during the Great Depression that the government was pouring out the country collapse. Thousands of business owners, millions of people lost their entire life savings. Unemployment peaked to 25%. So in fear of nothing, the government was like, all right, fine, we'll give you livable wages. Just fine, let's get that. I don't like the way you're looking at it. So the New Deal was growing, and with it came Social Security, better labor standards, the right to unionize, wage, and wow.
It's crazy the work he did. It's nuts.
On her productivity skyrocketing and wages rose with extra profits weren't just redistributed to employees, but their employers proud to do it. He would brag about how lucrative it was to work for them. 37% of profits went to our employees last year.
Yeah, there you go. Isn't that crazy? Like, can you imagine them doing that nowadays? This is like super rare.
We win, we come down without just mission statement. That's like, here's our list of priorities in order. Customers number one, we gotta make a product. Employees number two, everyone who works here needs to be valued and respected. Community number three, we all want to live in a better world. And as a company ourselves, we feel like it's our responsibility to contribute to that.
Always a mistake. Just any of these companies that do this shit, like they say that they're going to help, but that only matters enough. I think the video is alarmist. You don't have to produce anything in the United States. You have to sacrifice something. Otherwise, China will produce everything. I think that I would rather sabotage almost anything than lose the AI race. I think that it's worth almost sabotaging nearly anything in order to win that. Because I think that it will be a like generate. It will be like a next like electricity or something like that, right? So like I do agree. Like the thing is that like yeah, and I think in this video like you're right that it all does fall flat whenever you have a rival competitor that is doing and pulling out all the stops and willing to take any risk and sacrifice anything. Is that if you want to beat that person, you either have to innovate in a way that they haven't thought of in order to make up the difference, or you have to meet them where they're at. And so I think it really, I mean, trying to do both, really obviously. But yeah, and if you don't do that, then you're going to lose even more than if you sacrifice the things in order to win. And I think that's very clearly, like, that's the logic. I even agree with that. But there's ways you can do it that are best, right? It's not everything in the world is fine.
Of course, we need to make a profit to survive and grow, but that should just come naturally as a byproduct of focusing on these three tenets. Compared to modern corporate standards,
This is one of the things that like people don't understand with making videos too, is that you shouldn't try to make money with your videos necessarily. You should just try to make very good videos, and then if you make very good videos, you'll make money. Like, I really mean this. I haven't checked the amount of money that, like, I make on most platforms in, like, a year. I don't even know how much money. Because I think that thinking about it is like a brain chaser. I don't ever like thinking about money. Because then it's a quality, right? It's what I do, and it's the focus, it's what I stream every day. That's my main focus.
Such a foreign concept that it almost sounds like it's coming from a fictional universe. This actually happened. This was just America 70. Now, during this time, what do you think the tax rate was on the wealthiest Americans? For reference, in 2025, the highest income tax is 70%. So around 20%. Because of how many ways there are to circumvent the rules, it often ends up being as little as 3%. For someone like Elon Musk, who doesn't take a salary.
Well, the reason why it's so low also is that the majority of the wealth increments that they gain is through capital gains and stock gains. It's not really like they have a big pile of like billions of dollars in their house. Like they don't have a bank account with $1 billion in it. Like it's abstracted through stocks and other types of asset investments.
Tesla and instead just owns
That's the reason why.
Stock. As long as he doesn't sell any of that stock, then technically there's no income to tax.
Exactly.
Now we can still leverage the value of those stocks to make purchases.
That's right.
How money works, but it's still not taxable.
Of course not.
The rule. This is how people like him and Jeff Bezos can be, in terms of net worth, two of the richest people on the planet, and in some years pay $0.
I really, we really got to figure this out. 70%?
3%, 20%, or even 50%. It was between 70 and 94%. It honestly
is insane. Crazy high, like tax rate. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. It was. And this is what's so nuts to me about this is that, like, all the people that advocate for this kind of stuff and, like, the higher taxes, like, you know, like, and I think it really puts it into perspective, like this Zoran Mandami, like, oh yeah, we're going to increase it by like 2% or 5% or something like this. This is nothing. It's really nothing.
It sounds crazy, but even a lot of the people being taxed understood that it was necessary for society to continue to exist. And having a strong middle class was a crucial investment into the future of the country.
Because if you have the middle class, then you can have people that are buying your stuff regularly. It's like the idea of having the golden goose and then regularly collecting eggs instead of killing the goose.
I don't know, man. I just think it's kind of interesting that during what's referred to as the golden age of capitalism, the government did a bunch of social. During the period of time that birthed,
in order to have proper capitalism, you need to have regulations and forms of socialism. it's like a yin yang, right? Like you can't have it all one way or all another one. You can't have all capitalism. You can't have all socialism. Both of these extremes will lead to like a fucking like a dystopia. The idea of the American dream. The government was taxing the absolute shit out of the richest Americans and using that money to provide jobs and welfare programs for everybody else. A single income household working a regular ass job could afford to start a family, buy a house. Remember this? Yeah, either. Send their kids to college and retire. No other people who grew up then gush about it. Yeah. Same. But at this point, it is disingenuous to use that time period as the example for why capitalism works. I think that he's right about this. I think that using this time period and then not contextualizing it around the way that, wealth was regulated is like, it's like saying you lost weight, but not mentioning that you lost weight by cutting off your arm. It's just, it's totally dishonest. Version of it stopped existing. Completely dishonest. The generation of people who started as beneficiaries of a more equitable system changed the rules once the roles were reversed and they had the power. So what the hell? This will always happen, by the way. It will always happen and it will never be different. Because the greed that people like Elon Musk are accused of having is the same greed that poor people aren't able to act on. The idea that, there's some sort of latent virtue in the working class and poor people that if they were given these opportunities that they wouldn't do the same thing is completely naive. They would go and do the exact same stuff. And some of them would probably be even worse. Oh, how? And everything was going great. What changed? Well, there's a lot of things, obviously, but one of the first big dominoes was the U.S.'s involvement in the Vietnam War. Oh, expensive and deadly, but to be fair, also accomplished nothing. And this had long-term ramifications. America had been diverting so much money away from manufacturing and towards defense that it opened the door for other growing industrialized countries to surpass them. More and more products were becoming cheaper to import than they were to produce. This led to factories getting shut down, unemployment starting to creep back up. I still think that it's crazy that Japan got nuked twice and they managed to rebuild their entire country and then beat us in the auto race like fucking decades later. But meanwhile, you have other countries that have looked like they've been getting nuked every single day since like the year 100. Isn't it crazy? Recession hit Germany, facing a pivotal fork in the road in the late 70s. We don't go back to surely that must be the only reason. Surely that's the only reason. Infrastructure, try to help lift people out of poverty they've fallen into through no fault of their own. Or we say, fuck the government, we don't owe you shit. That's right. I don't even know. Yep. Exactly. All right. We don't do anything. That's right. Sounds good to me. Thanks. Trickle down economics. The logic being, oh man, these rich people are really... Well, there is trickle down economics. It's really piss on you. And also, there's another form of trickle-down economics where, one guy makes $1 million and then he pays, this is the trickle-down economics effect, he pays for DoorDash and he gives a $3 tip to the DoorDash delivery driver. That's it. I bet we lowered the corporate tax rate from 70, that's low. All that extra money to pay their employees more. Wow. For some reason, this hasn't worked out yet, but it's only been 55 years. Well, you can never expect anybody to act in good faith. You can never do that, because ultimately, even if the people who create the system acted in good faith, you will always have systems like that that will eventually become perverted by people who don't. So you have to have systems of regulation and accountability. Because even if you think that you're going to do it the right way, the fourth guy after you won't. And also, like, another, like, parallel to this is, like, the idea that wealth will only last for 3 generations. That it doesn't matter how wealthy a person is, that, 2 or 3 generations later on down the line, that, they're going to lose all of that money. And I think that you can really just apply that thinking to, like, a lot of regulation in general. And just human psychology, how people behave.
The jury's still. See, I would argue that part of the reason why companies in the 40s and 50s were so generous with their extra profits was
take a break here.
I mean, think about it. If you're faced with the decision between giving a huge chunk of money to the government or redistributing it back to the employees who helped you earn it in the first place, you would be much more likely to do the latter because it's an investment in your own company. It's a mutually beneficial exchange. Well-compensated workers are proven to be more loyal and more productive. And
this is the way I felt at the IRS. Whenever I worked with the IRS, like I was getting paid whenever I was on like a fucking like the because you know like different multipliers in the government, and so like I was getting paid like, and this is back in like 2013. I was getting like $20 an hour or like $18 an hour, which was like fucking insane at the time, especially for me. Like, and I didn't really have like any other really great jobs before then. So that was nuts, right? I was balling. And so, like, for me, I thought to myself, like, I'm going to show up early every day to this show. I'm going to do my work as well as I possibly can be because I'm getting paid all this fucking money. And, you know, I don't want to get fired, right? I don't want to get kicked out or anything like that. I think that's the way a lot of people, right? Is like, if you give people more money, a lot of them will perform better. Now, obviously, this is not a guarantee, but there's clearly a trend here. There is a trend. It's an incentive, yes. Two things that you want. There were other factors as well, loosening a lot of anti-monopoly regulation. That's the big one. That's the really big one, is the anti-monopoly regulations. Look at phones right now. If you want to get an app to market on a smartphone with any sort of phone, you have to either go through Google or Apple. They have a complete duopoly on all types of fucking apps. It is complete bullshit. They behave the same, they have the same rules, and they have the same regulations. It is completely regulated. Totally regulated, and the fact that they aren't is a disgrace. Meanwhile, they're trying to micromanage Microsoft buying Blizzard. Suck the fuck. Are you kidding me?
But this dramatic Jesus is a big reason why the 80s serves as the dividing line on just about every economic graph. This was the beginning of a long transfer of wealth from the working class to the top 1%. That's right. While it would be very easy to just blame all of this on then President Reagan, that would only be...
I mean, Reagan also did that amnesty bullshit. I thought Reagan, like, there's no way I like Reagan, but he fucked up a lot of stuff. I think conservatives look at him with way too much rose-tinted glasses. I think he's things that he has done have set us up for problems like 30 and 40 years down the road.
Mostly for sure, this new approach opened the door
actor,
for exploitation.
The actor with a
few scumbags willing to go
a fucking monkey, right?
Evolution to be complete, and nobody sprinted through it faster than one man. The real cartoon villain who signed the blueprint that most modern CEOs are still following to this day. His name was Jack Welch. Was often referred to as the man who broke capitalism. During his tenure as CEO of General Electric, he turned the once quintessential American company that reshaped people's lives and supplied hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs all across the country into a worthless carcass and a joke of a corporation. Wow. He became one of the richest people planet. In the century before Jack Welch took the reins, GE invented things like X-ray machines, jet engines, TVs, radios, just about any kitchen appliance you can think of.
That's pretty good.
In the 1980s, Jack invented laying people off.
Well, hey, I mean, at least everybody uses that invention a lot now, right? So you can't say it didn't get popular. It really caught on.
That was his big idea.
He's a visionary, yeah.
And then we don't have to spend as much money. It seems so simple and obviously very commonplace today, but before Jack, companies were not doing this. It was almost seen as un-American to fire somebody unless you absolutely had to.
And this is even something it's always hard for me to be certain about this because there's so much, like, fucking noise. But there are people that say that in Japan, there are guys that are like 45, 50, 55 that aren't really quite at retirement age, but the company doesn't have the heart to fire them. And so, like, out of a matter of respect, these guys just show up to work and don't fucking do anything all day until they hit retirement age. And like, yeah, exactly, yeah, real Miltons, exactly, yeah. And yeah, salaryman? No, that's just the term that's used. There is a term for it, but it's not that term. That's just somebody who works that way.
I didn't think like
What a
that.
job.
He
Yeah.
was a pioneer. He bravely instituted the rank and yank system where every year the bottom 10% of employees would get laid off no matter what. Not because they all deserved to be fired, but just because they fell on the wrong side of the spreadsheet. What's that? You were 3 years away from retirement.
Mandatory quotas like that are really destructive. And the reason why they're destructive is because whenever you gamify a job or a profession, people stop doing the job and they start playing the game. This is one of the reasons also there's a second order effect of this that's happening in the federal government. So, for example, everybody who works at the federal government is rated for performance, or at least they used to be, on a 1 to 5 scale. 3 is good, 2 is retarded, 1 is fuck you, 4 is I'll suck your dick, and 5 is you're going to be the president. That's basically the way it works. But you want to get a 3. The 3 is what you want. And so, in order to evaluate fraud claims and any sort of inaccuracies or problematic, any sort of like problematic data inside of a form, a document, a submission, usually the way that the systems and the algorithms are set up, it's not actually calculated into your performance. So the performance assumes that you're not going to have any of these, like 1% situations. But everybody knows if you're processing 1,000 documents a day, you're on average going to have 10 of these every single day. But because it's not amortized into the unit value of the amount of things that you're going over every day, what ends up happening is that people are then trained to skip and to do bad work because they're trying to meet the quotas for their job rather than trying to do their job. That's the main problem and the big issue that a lot of these like systematic process analyses or analyzed systems work. And so so now you guys see that happen. And so there's the incentive for it. Now can you see why there's so many, like let's say people in Minnesota, many of them are Somalian, but this happens everywhere, that are scamming the government. The reason why they're scamming the government is, well, maybe they're pieces of shit, maybe they're retards, sure. But another reason why it goes through is because the government has a system that encourages the employees to allow scams to go through. And once you see and you take a step back and you look at how all these pieces fit together, you will see that we have engineered the most bad faith version of an economic system that we could possibly have. And I think that really that's the term that I want to use the most, is it's bad faith economics. And that's what happens.
Retirement and now you no longer qualify for pension? Okay, then die. And to be clear, the layoffs were also not because the company wasn't profitable. It very much was, but it just wasn't profitable enough. See, when you routinely shut down entire facilities, you uproot thousands of lives, you create a toxic and selfish work environment where loyalty is replaced with fear, and if you're right with the size and influence that you had at the time, you can almost single-handedly destroy any semblance of a middle class across all of America. But this number gets a little bit bigger.
That's right.
So it's kind of a fair trade. GE was at
and this is so it's inevitable that this was going to happen because of fiduciary responsibility through each company. This was inevitable.
Forefront of this countrywide philosophical transition from an economy that cared about making things and rewarding the labor it took to do so, to an economy that only cared about shareholder value.
Big money. Big money.
To make that number go. If you think about the stock market it's mostly just about perception. As long as something seems to be growing in value, then people will be more.
The best example of this, if you ever think that the stock market isn't vibes, I think that obviously there's more to it than vibes. But the best way that I can show you that the stock market is vibes-based is the stock price changes after Elon Musk and Donald Trump won the presidency. Like Tesla stock prices went up by like 30% or something like that because, he was very instrumental in Trump winning the presidency, even though it never manifested in any sort of increase in the value of the company. So the company gains 30 so percent value based off of a projection, perception, or some sort of promise or hope. That's it.
More likely to invest in it which will in turn cause it to
This
be
canal
more
is
valuable.
wide as a
Why do
lake.
we come here?
A lot of what Jeff did during his time as CEO did not make the company better, but it did make it bigger. And in the eyes of Wall Street,
And guys, who knows a lot about accounting? The amount of bullshittery, especially whenever you're dealing with like so many different industries and enterprises, the way that you have the interplay, holy fuck. Like, it's so, again, bad faith economics. On accounting, yeah. Is accounting is hilarious? Yes. Genuinely accepted accounting principles. AKA the legal experts.
I mean, come on, a business that relies on something boring like selling products. They don't give a shit. Look, but a company that's constantly acquiring other companies simply does no skill. $30 when you think about it. That's what they did.
All the dollars.
He bought and sold hundreds of companies, and Jack was lauded for his brilliance because from the outside, everything seemed to be I'm sure they were becoming a bloated, nonsensical hodgepodge of unrelated businesses, eroding the company's infrastructure and
Well, this is also, I think this is just bad business development. Like, you can go as far back as to J.D. Rockefeller or to as recent as Elon Musk, where you have people that build vertical integration in different businesses that they own and operate. And that's the way that, for example, that's the reason why Apple is such a massive company, right? Is that they have all the vertical integration inside of the development of their systems and their products completely in-house. So there are very few times where there's a middleman that's taking the shape off of the top of the base, right? Netflix is no way. Vertical integration is the way that, if you look at the success story behind almost every single type of screen multiverse, except for totally capitalizing on technology, vertical integration is at the forefront of their business model. It's not just only games or any long-term this is the reason why whenever we had O2K, I thought it would be a good thing to start, because then you could use the people that are streaming in order to promote the fucking performance, right? And then you could also have Mythic that would get more people to promote computers as well. It's vertical integration. That's pretty fucking simple, right? It's all wow, you get the thing that everybody else does. Let's just do the thing that everybody else does. Oh wow, look. Holy shit, I can't believe it. Price has never been higher. Infinite. Just out of the value out of thin air. So, make the own and the fences are not wrong. Some of the accusations are true. So maybe it's just more return That's business loans, massive over subprime mortgages. Numbers, that's what they were testing. You get to gratification from the thing that's crazy about this is, like, y'all saw the pictures of this thing, right? Like, these are pictures that were taken in, like, 1985. You can tell just by the lighting. This is, like, fucking... Like, this guy makes Bobby Kotick look like a broke bitch. Like, think about how much money that is nowadays. Where his successor stepped in and they were like, this doesn't make sense. The time bomb Jack planted explodes in their faces, and GE spends the next 20 years slowly bleeding out. And at this point, people fall back on just like selling microwaves because they've been cutting corners on production so long that nobody wanted to buy any of their shitty garbage. And of course, they had fallen way far behind on innovation because they spent all their money on acquisitions instead of research. 2021, the company that helped bring electricity to America was Mercury. A lot of very big conglomerates, Roman Empire themselves, where they spread themselves too thin, and then their competency is displaced among too many different products, and all of the products fail. Particularly laid to rest. Split into 3 separate institutions, none of which have compares to the dominance or 8.25 billion on state. But here's the thing.
You know who isn't affected at all by the cataclysmic downfall of General Electric?
It's 1%.
Jack Welch. Because he's dead.
Yeah. And here's here's another component. Imagine if he only got $40 million. He would still be living a life of absolute luxury and entertainment. The entire idea that, like, at a certain point, money, the number becomes cosmetic. It doesn't even matter at this point. It's kind of like whenever you're playing a video game. If you're already hitting a damage cap, like let's say you're fighting monsters that have 100 health, it doesn't really matter to you if you go from 100 damage to 200 damage. It doesn't make a difference because you're going to kill them in one hit anyway. And this is the thing that a lot of these people don't understand is that you're going to hit a cap and there's like massive fucking DRs here. Yeah, Expedition 33. Yeah, exactly. You're hitting 9999s like fucking in the first act sometimes if you use roulette, right? And so you don't even need to worry about, like, okay, at that point, are you going to keep using your big hits, or are you going to instead use something that does smaller hits over time, right? And I think that's really what these companies do, right? Is that they never think about that. They never focus on that, and they just kind of accumulate more and more money that does basically nothing. It doesn't improve your life at all.
Fallout caused by his action. He took control of a building with a rock-solid foundation and just kept scrapping it for parts, and the only thing left for it to do was collapse under its own weight. But by that point, he was long gone. I believe that this is the goal of those who now follow in his footsteps. You don't need to care about whether or not what they're doing is harmful or unsustainable. As long as the facade would be maintained long enough for them to reap the rewards, it doesn't matter that the ship is sinking behind them because they have a lifeboat.
It's also, like, it's important, too, that you don't have to do it for your whole life. There's plenty of people who run companies into the ground, and they're alive to see it happen, and it doesn't matter because they just make the money back anyway. They get a golden parachute ex appeal, and they get paid $5 million, and they have a non-compete clause, so they just don't even work for a year or multiple years, and they just sit around, and that money collects interest. It's crazy.
That America spent the past 60 years exporting all its jobs and decimating the economies of small towns all across the country because a few hundred people responsible for those things already got to live long.
That's right. Even if they stopped making money immediately, it wouldn't matter.
Corporate culture, Jack Pioneer, is still seen all around us today. Through the magic.
I don't agree with blaming him. I don't. I think that this was an inevitability based off of fiduciary responsibility and greed of the consumers and investors reaching its logical, obvious conclusion. This is something that would have happened anyway. Maybe he speed ran it, but we'd probably still be in roughly the same position we're in now.
Mind, it's only getting worse. CEOs make $1,000 every second, while their employees have to piss in water bottles so they don't fall behind. Routine layoffs, regardless of if a company is even struggling, are so normalized that
I think that we should expect it. I think that asking and expecting companies to provide welfare is ridiculous. I think that we should expect this from the government. A company's job is to create a product at a price. A government's job, in my opinion, is to choose to protect and take care of its people. I think that this displacement on unaccountable third-party corporations that are international that have in a lot of cases no real ties for obligations to the United States. I think this is it's a siren song, right? I think that the more that you listen to it and you go in that direction, the more it will be a bad thing. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have any accountability on companies, but I don't think that's really where the solution is going to come from.
We're surprising Twisted Tea super fans with a Twisted Tea drop. Twisted Tea tastes like real iced tea because it's made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol to kick off your tea. Twisted Tea iced tea. Keep it twisted.
You do so much for others, but how well do you take care of you? Recharge with a therapeutic massage and try a professional facial because we're amazing at skincare too. Massage Envy.
hurl every major decision is dictated by this inherently volatile and short-sighted metric. And look at where that's gotten us. Millions without jobs, an enshittification epidemic, and a concentration of wealth that should be seen as a threat to humanity.
If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. I wonder how many of these people are still alive.
Even while owning everything, billionaires live in fear of losing it. So they weasel their way into politics.
That's right.
They influence elections.
Yep.
They buy policy changes. They use their wealth to...
There were political cartoons of J.D. Rockefeller doing this over 100 years ago. This is not new. Crassus did it in Rome, didn't he? Always has been, always will be.
Reshape the world to benefit them even further. They try to control narratives by buying up news outlets. They can dictate what's on social media feed. They spend an enormous amount of resources by getting us all against each other. So we're too disposable.
I mean, I think that basically you have to look at. So if you think that something is a manifestation of core human behavior and psychology, you should never expect that the problem will solve itself without dramatic and extreme regulation and controls. And I think that some of these videos, I think that it's very popular to be hateful and hostile to people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. And you can do that as much as you want, but it will never be productive, because even if these people retire or they die, they'll just be replaced by somebody else that will do the same thing. It's kind of like the metaphor that I use all the time, where these people are effectively the cookies, and you don't want to go after the cookies, you want to go after the cookie factory. Because the cookie factory will just keep making more cookies. So even if you throw away a dozen cookies, there's just going to be more cookies that replace them. So that's my focus.
Interested to see that the real problem is them.
It's like another great example of this is that, whenever Luigi shot that United Healthcare person, it's not like insurance in America just suddenly went away and it got good again.
It's all against each other, so we're too distracted to see that the real
6 million.
When the human race survives.
I love this guy, by the way. He's absolutely fucking schizo. All this stuff about the fucking, what do you call it? The Antichrist and everything else, I think he's correct.
Everything kind of sucks. As a result, most people are justifiably pretty angry. But for media outlets and politicians, that anger is their single most powerful tool, because they can tell you where to direct it. They don't even really care who it is, so long as it's not them. That's why it changes all the time. Sometimes it's trans people, sometimes it's immigrants. Most recently, it's been poor people.
It's important to keep in mind that the immigrants are being the only people who are the real beneficiaries of mass migration and mass immigration are billionaires and business owners, because they're the ones that are able to utilize, take advantage of, and abuse and exploit the labor of people who are illegal in the country or migrants in the country. Those are the people that actually benefit. The working class doesn't benefit. The middle class generally doesn't benefit. The upper middle class probably benefits because they're getting like basically cheaper like lawnmowers, right? And cheaper maids. But otherwise, the main people that are really getting all the money are the big corporations, right? They're the ones, and the business owners. Modern slavery? Well, yeah, modern slavery. I would say it's more like indentured servitude. I think slavery is too harsh of a word, but yes.
And this whole war going on over food stamps, because when the government shut down, 42 million Americans lost access to SNAP benefits. Now, that's an objective piece of information, inarguable statistics, but depending on how it's presented to you, it may lead you to draw a drastically different conclusion.
Well, you saw on Twitter, right? I mean, you see, like, there's a black person that's bad with money that's spending all their food stamps on Takis and Dr. Pepper. And so now we should just let poor people starve. The problem is that the people are retarded. And it's so easy to just totally manipulate people's perception. And it's getting worse every single year.
Right? Yeah. For some, it might put into perspective how tired the situation has gotten. Like, surely there's underlying issues with a system that's allowed 12% of its population to be unable to afford food. Alternatively,
that's a lot.
Think, wait a minute, my tax dollars are paying for these.
Well, the problem also is that, it's more than 12% that can't afford food. it's only 12% that officially qualify for not being able to take weekly. Freeloaders, I'm busting my ass over here to barely get anything, and these leeches are using my money to buy cookies. Yeah, basically like the $60,000 a year people hate the $20,000 a year people. All it takes is highlighting a story in TV of someone taking advantage of the system. It's just a big issue. You're expected to. I think it is. I think there is actually a rampant issue of people that are taking advantage of the system. It's definitely true, but that's inevitable. Every system that gives away stuff is going to have people that are taking advantage of it. In the same way that, whenever they're doing the ICE deportations, there are people who get detained unfairly. When there are laws that are made for, speeding, there are people that get pulled over unfairly. There are also going to be people that are paid out unfairly whenever you have a payout program. This is inevitable. This is an inevitable reality that the only way to avoid it is to do nothing. All of these people with money you barely have enough of to feed yourself. This narrative has been used since the 70s because it's very effective. You work hard, they're lazy, this program is bad. It's easier than ever now to push this narrative because you can just AI generate a video of but she is really fat though, right? And do we really need to be feed? And the thing is that I think that most people, whenever they see a fat person that's on food stamps, that's just gratuitously buying a bunch of food. Because, by the way, I know that fat lady buying a bunch of food gratuitously that she doesn't need. It was my mom. And I was right there behind her, in front of her, putting it all in the cart because I was buying it too, because we got food stamps. It was fucking amazing. So, yes, I know that they're real because I used to be one. He's screaming about it to get everyone pissed off. But in order to properly analyze this, let's take a look at the data. First of all, SNAP only makes up about 1.5% of the overall federal budget. Less than 1/8 of what we spend on defense, and 1/8 of what we spend just on interest on the debt that we owe. By my math, cutting this program would only save the average taxpayer a couple $100s a year. Of course, that's assuming that if they were to cut it, they would send you a refund as a man. No, I'm pretty sure they would still take the same amount. But it's Israel, actually. Instead of reinvesting it in the economy, which is what SNAP ultimately does, they would just buy some more missiles, send a pilot cash to Argentina. Second of all, by definition, the majority of SNAP recipients are under the umbrella of elderly, disabled, kids, caretakers, or just temporarily unemployed. Everybody working does so because they don't want to. I mean, it's very hard to find and keep a job right. The fact that SNAP spending ebbs and flows so closely with the overall state of the economy should be proof that this program is primarily used for temporary relief. Even still, that's actually a really good argument. I like that. I've never heard of that before. I've never seen that graph. That's a good graph. I like the sense. From SNAP do work. There's 70. I actually, but to be fair, I also think that this graph is a bit problematic. Because if you see here, this is really what the issue is. Let me just go ahead, I can pull it up and I'll show you guys. So if you look at the actual graph here, you can see that the baseline of COVID is still higher than the baseline afterwards. And I think this really also goes to show that a lot of the economy, I guess like the best way to say it, a lot of the economic recovery is artificial. Because if it wasn't artificial, you would see this number go back down even more. But it's not. How is it the economy keeps getting better, but at the same time, all these people are still stuck on food stamps? There you go. It's just adjusted for inflation. Total spending, I don't know actually if it is or not. That's a good question. Some of the work, it's not. That doesn't seem like a laziness problem. That seems like a wage problem. They need supplemental income to survive. Yes. So take how little they're the full-time employees. They're two most common employers who make $7 billion to earn $23 billion in profits last year. Not that much. You just only get benefits to pay their employees enough so that they don't need the government system. And see what that means? It's really hard to help pay for these people's food. This was a scandal in like 2009 or 2010. That might have been 2008, I don't remember exactly, but Walmart was caught teaching people who were working at Walmart how to supplement their income from working at Walmart by applying for government assistance. So, like, basically they're offloading the burden of taxes onto the actual fucking person. The employer, a multi-trillion-dollar corporation, just gave them a livable wage. The people using the program and the companies who put them in a position where they didn't need it in the first place. Well, the companies want them to use the program. Walmart double dips here. The majority of food stamps are redeemed at Walmart. So not only do they save money by underpaying their staff, but their revenue then gets subsidized by this program. Because that's what keep in mind, one of the people that was an heiress to Walmart was a massive funder of the No Kings protest for Donald Trump, who ended up locking food stamps out because of the government shutdown. Isn't that interesting? People tend to use the final statistic about a third of SNAP recipients, over 12 million of them, are children. What's the other thing? Are they classmates? No. Vertical integration, yeah, bro. We're integrating the White House. Not so much. I think that it's funded by a lot of people. This is you seven. I can stop for 1 second. Just think about what you're saying. You have let somebody convince you that in this situation, the only way to live like that is if 12 million children spread. Yes, it's there to be a bunch of kids who got born into poverty or seeing those which that's fun, RNG, guys. I guess you have to die. The universe is created 1,000 lives to expect you to solve the problem that they helped create. For some people, it doesn't matter what you say about capitalism, they will still vote for war. Even if it's they'll also go more against it. I don't think this is. I think this is slightly reductive. In my opinion, I think that people are so indoctrinated by what their ideologies are. Like, this is even a bigger thing, where I think that people have replaced religion with political dogma and social ideologies. So, in the same way that people would blindly follow, Islam or blindly follow Christianity, well, now that we're in more of a secular culture, the mind of the people that follow these religions blindly for thousands of years hasn't really changed as fast as the society is. And so, instead of following that, they're following the idea of Marxism or socialism or the capitalism or something like that, and there's LGBT issues, and this is their frame of reference that derives their political system, their morality system, their economic system, and the way that they see the world, and also even interact with other people. Statistically speaking, it's probably not. We'll try to criticize a multi-billionaire who's not paying his taxes. People will defend them like, hey, it's not their fault. They're just taking advantage of loopholes, like any smart business person. Well, they were the ones that made the loopholes. Okay, so then we agree there's a problem with the rules, right? Yeah. They're just exploiting. Yeah, if the rules are bad, then what use of the rules? If the rules put you at a disadvantage, then fuck the rules. System, then maybe the system should be exploit. We break down principles of the free market no longer apply. Like the idea that you spoke your house, I think the bigger business sites every single that's what yeah, I think that's generally true. Like, it's not always true, but it's generally true. He is allowed to corner the market and price out all the competition. Suddenly, there isn't.
And look how small businesses cost. If you walked into a Walmart or Costco, the retail price at those stores, the price on the shelves at those stores, is lower than the wholesale price a small business is getting. And so there are huge disparities here.
And that's now feeding into itself, right? I think that's normal, right? I mean, buying things wholesale, like buying something at Sam's Club is cheaper than buying it at Walmart. It would make sense logically that a larger sale would be even cheaper than that. Like, I don't understand that point.
For dire the occurrences for everyone, the less freedom they have when they're deciding. Amazon is certainly
only bought saves money on logistics, yeah.
To buy, but historically speaking,
Walmart understands. That's why I use this example.
So how do you convince somebody who's also been forced to
They were saying the opposite? Wait, let me listen to it again.
And yet you want to claim it's
women. Competition, suddenly there isn't.
And you have small businesses if they walked into a Walmart.
Small businesses, okay.
Example stop.
Like 5 different things you're talking about. So let me think about it again.
Costco, the retail price at those stores, the price on the shelves at those stores, is lower than the wholesale price a small business is getting. And so there are huge disparities here.
And that's now
what she's saying.
Wholesale is more perspective. I don't even. What is she even? What? I don't even understand this. She's saying Walmart is undercutting her? Yeah, of course.
Feeding into itself, right? The more dire the economy is for everyone, the less freedom they have when they're deciding what to pay. Amazon is certainly not the only place to buy toys, but historically speaking, it's almost always the cheapest and most convenient. It's hard to convince somebody who's
Yeah, I buy almost everything on Amazon. Absolutely.
also been forced to pinch pennies due to their own circumstances that they need to spend more time and money buying that same thing from a local mom and pop shop when they could just click 3 buttons and have it magically appear at their doors. It's not
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that these other companies can just outcompete like these smaller stores because they operate on such massive scale that they can afford to work at lower margins.
really care who owns that because that person is also struggling. But then the cycle continues. The small business closes, Amazon and Walmart extend their reach even
That's right.
further, and once all competition is defeated,
Then you raise the price.
Yeah,
exactly. I did this in World War First. Absolutely. Yeah, if you control the market, you just pay the price.
algorithm to charge the maximum price they can feel paying at any given moment. No one just
VPN.
counter arguments here is to bring up the idea of raising taxes on the ultra wealthy. Is that, well, if you do that, they're just going to leave. First of all, that's a bluff they've been using for years, perpetuated by media networks owned by, you guessed it, rich people who don't want their taxes.
Wow, what a surprise.
A few of them might leave, but the kinds of people who are willing to go to the trouble of moving their entire business from New York City to, like, the semi.
This is another thing that's also good about having tariffs, right? Is it makes leaving because of higher taxes harder to do.
Are probably already doing everything they can to avoid paying any taxes at all. Doesn't seem like
everyone's incorporating
mindset to cater to this parasitic minority at the expense of everybody else. Second of all, oh my god, can we grow some fucking balls here? I don't understand. They're not gonna. We can't keep these things. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear how pathetic?
No, that's not the reason why. I don't agree with this. I think the reason why they do it is because they want to be in that position in the future. One of the things that's unique about America is that there is the ability for class mobility that is almost unheard of in many other places in the world. Like in America, you can be homeless and then you can become a billionaire. That's not very common in the world. And I understand that it's not as common now, but it's still possible. And so people have this fantasy in their mind, and inside of this fantasy, they're the person that's doing it. So they imagine themselves being actually square, right? I can guarantee you, because there is no way that you can convince stupid people to work in their own best interest. And there are too many stupid people out there. They are too easily manipulated, and it will never work. Because it never has worked.
Buddy, we've already tried that, and that's not working either. Third of all, this criticism is predicated on an idea that taxation essentially has a bell curve to it, where after a certain rate, your overall revenue actually decreases because people will lose the incentive to work as long as, like you're saying, move away. With this in mind, there have been studies done by economists who believe that every country has its own ideal rate for maximum efficiency. However, the implication that raising taxes would cause overall revenue down would only be true if we were on the tail end of this belt, obviously, and we are nowhere close to it.
I think this obviously makes sense. I mean, particularly people won't work as hard if they're not getting any money out of it.
But I mean, it's pretty clear which is moving upward. Raising taxes really fixed all of our problems because we still have to rely on electric to actually use
A lot of the animosity and hostility towards paying taxes is hand in hand with the tax money being allocated in ways that are stupid. I think that people wouldn't have a problem paying more taxes if they saw a new library being built in like their local town, but whenever they see a new library being blown up in the Middle East, that doesn't really seem as appealing.
Look,
And somehow it's more expensive than building one.
but if my money's just going to be used to blow up a hospital on the other side of the world, then
Hey, what can I say?
yeah, maybe I'd rather just give it to a food bank. I don't
Yep.
know all the answers because at the end of the day, no matter how hard I try to expand my legacy beyond,
I mean, it's so obvious, right? I mean, you don't need to pre-watch that. It's basic psychology.
I'm still just a road head guy, but I do know that this amount of wealth inequality that's showing zero signs of slowing down anytime soon
It's going to get worse, actually. It'll get a lot worse.
is not sustainable. Turns out that actually every single thing in the world
It's only not sustainable if you assume that the current economic and social system is going to stay the same, which it won't. It's going to get a lot worse.
Housing to healthcare is just a way to enrich a few people at the cost of many. And I have to wonder if we've finally reached a point now where the greed has gone too far.
It never has gone too far, and even in the instances historically of, the supposed rising up of the working class, you generally have, for example, the military and merchant class fighting the royalty class in, for example, the French Revolution. And it's also not like in any of these previous revolutions in history, it's very rarely, the poor people really fight the rich people and then the poor people win. It's usually that half of the rich people pay half of the poor people to kill the other half of the rich people, and then they're paying their poor people, and then somehow people, one side wins, and it's seen as a, class victory, but really it's just a reinforcement of the existing hegemony. It is, and this is really the truth. And it's a very black pill way of looking at it, but I think that if you look into it, you'll find out that this is true.
Now so impossible to ignore, no amount of gaslighting about how the economy is good, actually. Convince people who are dying because they can't afford to go to the doctor that this is just how life should be. History shows it. Unfortunately, sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better. And this is what it takes.
I think that there is accelerationism in mind. I think that things can improve. I hope that they do. My expectation is that I don't really know whether they will or not. I don't think there's enough to, I can't say. But it's very unlikely. I'll say that.
Solidarity that
it's not gonna happen.
we're closer to that than we've been in a long time. We just
No,
need
we're
to
not.
put down our phones, set aside our differences for a little bit, and unite on this one issue. They want us divided because they're afraid of how strong we would be if we
That's
stood
right.
together.
Which is
Not
why they
all
never
for it.
will.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go argue on Reddit about how Ghost of Yote is woke because they didn't make the main character hot enough for me. Thank you for watching.
That's right. And you're going to be thinking about my video, and I was fucking right. And you want to talk about capitalism, I'll tell you something. If they had made that character with bigger tits, they would have sold even more copies than they did. That's fucking right. You're goddamn right. Yep, there you go. And anyway, great video. Yeah, I think it was a really good video. And overall, I think that any sort of discussion of revolution or anything inside of that scope at all is very, very pie in the sky, fantasy, theoretical. I think it's bullshit, really. It's bullshit. And it's not going to happen. Great insight, great video. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about a lot of... And I think this is the prime evil that is transcending everything. Like, everything is downstream of this. For example, like, identity politics are introduced into the media in order to distract from this. I think that also, and I think this is also done by the mainstream media, and then you also have very, very clearly the amount of, just random distractions there are. People are distracted from it. So yeah, 3-10 video, reductive socialist argumentations. I mean, again, it sounds like the beginning of a great Reddit comment. How are you treating what he's talking about? Trump can spam hated Somalis, and now we're doing that? Well, because and let me explain the reason why. The Somalians that are being brought into the country are being brought into the country with the abstract goal of them being able to be an underclass of laborers for rich people. So mass migration and these immigration allowances and these introductions of massive groups of foreign people that aren't assimilating into the culture the reason why that's happening is because these large businesses want to utilize their labor and take advantage of them systematically. That's the reason why. So if you, like, basically, mass migration is a symptom of this disease. That's it. And by the way, do you know who agrees with me on this? Is Bernie Sanders. That's it. Finally, somebody noticed it? Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that are creating the carrot that's causing all these people to illegally migrate to the country. Can we get a link? Yeah, give the video a like. I think this was really, really good. I like the video a lot. I didn't agree on every point that he made. I think it's probably impossible for somebody to. But overall, I think that he made a lot of really good points, and I think it's great. It's also great for the left because it displaces the cured white majority. I mean, like, you can talk, like, all of that is kind of, that's secondary to this, but yeah, of course you have identity politics, right? Bernie's critical diction. I mean, like, you're thinking about, like, so, okay, that's fine, but you have to agree that, like, I think he was right on that, wasn't he? And so, like, that's my point. Like, you can go and talk about, oh, what's this, that, the other thing. I don't give a shit about it. Like, oh, he said this, he said that. I don't care. Is he right about this thing? I think this thing he is right about.
Child predator gets caught in police trap. In May 2023, an investigation was initiated by the Wausau Police. Wausau. Down Wausau. So much. Jeffrey Super, age 65, initiated conversations with undercover profile. The officer quickly emphasized to Jeffrey several times that he was indeed 15.
It's not funny, but I like his reply. It's like something you'd see on Xbox Live or something back in the day. So I'm like 15, I don't know what I like. And the dude's like, nice, you gay or what? You good, kid? Was you gay or something? Whoa, Jeff, hold on there.
Jeffrey soon explained he had multiple fetishes, such as golden showers and licking feet.
As long as he likes him young, he likes young tubes. Watch out. Get that old thing going, talking like that. Hey, man's in the shower just peeing on them feet, I swear. What do you think about that? What do you think about peeing in the shower? It's a must. It's a must. And, you know, I mean, it's the most comfortable place to be. Besides outside in the yard, it's the number 2 choice under the stars. Yes, right. Outside in the stars, number 1 choice, number 2 choice, definitely right in the shower. It all goes to the same place, right? Don't have to agree. I hope so. Never thought about that. I just assumed. Oh, that'd be like really disgusting, but you know, sometimes you do a little more than, you know, fart in the shower and bad things happen, and man, I hope it all goes to the same place. Well, I was gonna say, you know, no, good for you. You know, PewDiePie has an old story of pooping in the shower, you know. Bringing it back, oh yeah. It's the originator of the other G creator.
He also asked the officer if he should bring some methamphetamine.
Jesus Christ, what? It's like, guys, you're underage. Some pee and some feet, bring some meth.
Water mirror.
few times. What you gotta do is... It's all I'm listening to come in. Next time, like spot the vegetarian. His neck even lined up. Who cut his hair like that? He did, sure. And he was like, dang it. Hey, what is that? What's up over his chest? It's a mess in there. I made a mess. Look, this guy, he's only 25 years old.
It is also government auto parts which contain a variety of items, descriptions about old metal and units.
It turns out there's a lot of medicine ADHD medication
The wind.
My son, he's like, even the doctors were like, we did it in Australia where they're like, we had to have like 4 different people interview him and people come to the house and talk to him. Like they were all certain 100%. There's no like maybe ADHD. So several different not all they count the doctor. Right. Sure. Yeah, the thing that's actually. You gotta work it out now. He's all good now.
Spring never ends.
That's some trial and error stuff. Something about it too is medication. You have to try the stuff. You have to try like before into the Olympics. Yeah, before they give you the new like better stuff, right? So you have to better three different ones. 3 different types that on the table, or you can get like more expensive. There's a disconnect in Australia to America. Obviously, the insurance up here. You tried all this stuff in Australia? Sure, whatever.
Spring never
anyway,
ends.
they were like, yeah, this is like Australians.
Water mirror.
My dad had like his whole arm was gonna fall off, basically. Like his rotator cuff was almost completely torn. His bicep was torn. And this is just from being a Chad working man. Yeah, But and so he got everything fixed after he had to go to therapy. Just work it out first. Just made it hurt. Because he had to go to physical therapy before he could see what's wrong. That's insane. Yeah, because he was in pain, hurting himself. You can see me doing this now. It gets a food and make it right here. It's very hard. Yeah. For sure. Like 6 times. Doctor's like, hey, you need to break. Must be insane. Anyway, yeah, he had pharmaceutical meth. He had this syringe. I mean, the good news is it's prescription meth and it's fine. He can have it. His doctor prescribed it for him. Yeah. Why do we have all these cuts to this car? What is he stealing this car? Does he need his car work though? Let's see his car. Battery dead. That's supposed to have something. Since it had a service, yeah. His car since it. Sort of. Yeah. I turned the key. I don't know if you tried that. Oh, I got a question. The other guy's like, yeah, I tried it one time at work, loser. Wow. So I tried the key. Thanks, Sarge. Better sound some couple wrong. No, I can't. How long are you going to be on? You want to get put in the front? Was he a car trick or something? What did he say? He was talking in meth language. I was going to say, I couldn't understand him at all. You know how that meth talk goes. Yeah, all right. 25 years old, no meth. It hurts. My bones are brittle, real brittle right now. Yeah, exactly. Can you slide over a little bit more, please? We're not going far. I can't deal with it. I understand. We're just going a few blocks. Okay. He can't deal with it. He knows he's guilty, though. Yeah, he does. That admission guilt? much further back. But that one thing I really about Firestone was early 2000s. It was like every night. Firestone, I guess, oh yeah. It's right downside of Mr. Fucking Richmond. All I remember Firestone was really the bottom of it. You know, cannonballs. He's not like that. He's got these. Oh, help me! I got the square set on.
You understand each of these rights I've explained.
Yes.
So what does that have to do with that?
Like I said, I don't use the stuff. I'm being.
He's asking about the meth? Yeah. What's the meth about? And he's like, well, I'm gay. Yeah. And I just wanted to use it to fool some person. Oh, it's like having an all-on conversation, right? You're talking to a stranger on the line, like, you're like, I sure do like baseball. And then that one follower's like, by the way, I'm gay. You're like, fantastic. It's like being vegan something. I don't know if any of this can go in the video, guys. You guys are a vegan? If you're doing CrossFit, they're gonna let you know. That's right. This man, he's gonna let you know his sexual orientation. Because who's asked about men?
So let me just tell you right now that I know absolutely every single detail.
Yeah. Some guess.
So,
yeah.
I'm talking there.
Sir.
Never. What's the sex drive?
No, of course not. Never done horny to like know what's right and wrong. Right. That's ridiculous. I was just my sex drive was too great. I couldn't stop myself. The opportunity to destroy a young man's life. Yeah, the anal cannons that I had, cannonballs I had.
You know, moving into the knowledge of what you described to them.
Yes.
How it's done.
Yes.
So that's it was a passion or a use.
So not only did he was like having this gloomy conversation with some underage, he also told me about meth in her butt. This guy, this is a safer means. Yeah. It's the safest way to take the bath. It's straight to the glass. Boy, get it in there, huh? It's pretty safe if you don't have a heart attack. It's supposed to be the favorite uncle. This is crazy.
Walk me through all of this now. If you're not in use all this stuff.
Just burn time.
I don't know nothing about it. I don't like this. Like that old jackass movie, like alcohol, like spike alcohol. something like Fletcher. And Fletcher, they were like, yeah, that's the quickest way to put yourself out. You know? Yeah, I just can't imagine that being real. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, it's the cheapest way. I'm like, oh, you think of that? Okay. So what other ways, sir? Like, skip all the buttons and presses. That's the safest way. Yeah, that way we can often break just, you know, this is how we do it. So a couple of bucks. Very safe. So that's don't forget that it's very safe. This man better understand where That's not what trick. People like, can't wait you judging people. There's patterns that we see in all these videos and a lot of times. Not all the time. There's, you know, sometimes about what you answer, but a lot of times it's not wrong. I do not need you aspire to share. Selling? No. So, see, that's the truth. You ain't selling nothing.
Going up the mountain? I advise with clothes like that.
I'm
just being nice. I'm just being careful. Well,
watched when he died.
don't say.
So I think it was that shirt that was in the car. But it didn't hit you. You probably sneaked a bunch. Like, that's his kind of language.
It's yours, and you bought it. When did you buy it from? You said you bought it from me, so you couldn't afford it.
I don't know who you guys are. I gave him the money.
This isn't adding up. Okay.
Yeah.
The story he's telling right now is the 15-year-old who doesn't actually exist gave him the money to buy the mail. So the cop is like, what do you have? And also, how did you get from us? How did you get from us? Because we are the person you've been talking to. This is getting good.
Obviously, it's your phone. That was what I was to search it and download it. You can send to me searching your phone. If I go through with your consent, and I want.
Yeah, we'll go through your phone and give you consent to do that. What if you don't?
I won't speak for introduction, but I believe there's sufficient probability to say.
This question is if I need a lawyer. Yeah, anytime we can stop. Anytime we can be like, no, don't search my phone. We may have gotten it or not. You never know, right?
I keep this. Go on.
That's a problem.
Bill Knight.
It's so much like he has. Jesus.
You don't give an explanation as to why the wind went as far as you did today.
Yes, nothing's right. Now he's like spinning to the mountains. There. What do you know? Right. This I don't want to get in trouble, so let's put it inside the box so no one sees it. Yeah. Never didn't like planning this out. Oh man.
I got answers here on.
What was your plan when you got the players today? Expand on that.
Make his mind up. He was like, turn around and leave. Somebody come have some fun. Yeah. I love shopping on my it's the best thing he ever says. Like, you can go do have some fun. Yeah, I'm not fun about that. I mean, so the whole idea is going to be fun for him, but he was like thinking about how long it was going to be. Who's doing the trash? That whole trash can be thrown in there.
I'm already tired. I too much. There's too much. I need any child here. Around here.
So he works in school. He's a bus driver. So works maintenance. So creep around school bus, get down to bed in his showers and oh yeah, that's probably what we're doing. Oh yeah, we're in school. It's just worse and worse as it goes. He's changing.
Prior to that, I did way back when my kids were young. Yeah, right now it's 4 or 5 years.
Back when his kids were young, my kids too.
It happens with somebody in your future.
Joy never dies.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Win.
School bus driver. You do a lot of other things too. In the pants, yeah. I'm sorry. We was on the phone. Yeah. Well, it's a shame you brought meth that night. We actually got real jokes on. Usually is the freaking child predator stuff. You in jail. You in jail. You know, 2 years. Oh, you're on probation. You know. And I got drugs. Go to life.
Yeah, I have nothing on it. So there's nothing wrong with being having chicken and other behaviors. Yeah, but
where's he going with this? What's he trying to do? Say they're like homophobic or something? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I know if you're gay or no, that's not your partner. Hey, there's hold on. Yeah, hold on.
Well, like the dangers
that risks associated with
anything, man. You know, left and reach out to check. Here's all my body. First time.
This, honest to God, this is, I have no
your cell phone and tell us a different story.
Yeah, no.
She coming to front?
Yes. Why can't you?
Because the guns are this is policy.
No, I cannot sit you in the front. Stop asking me. I don't want to sit beside you. Contents of his phone, which revealed thousands of images describing romantic engagements between humans and animals, as well as the number that makes this too. It does. So, to be honest with you, and everything saying right here, it's just checks out. New challenges, web searches, images, and videos did not uncover additional relationships with any underage persons. Too bad, I'm surprised. Surprising. That is surprising. Yeah. Jeffrey was charged with felony counts of using a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, child enticement, and selling drugs, and possession of meth. He was eventually released on a $5,000 cash bond. Since this incident, it appears he had also moved to the I don't mind. $5,000. So 10%. $100 to now. 10%? $500 to get down. Move to a different state. Move to a different state. So over to CodeUK.com. Get some t-shirts. Wow. So this comment right here, like everybody's about the line being a joke, like the video of a guy selling shrooms, bond was set to $120,000 for this guy, a sexual predator trying to give meth to a kid, gets a $5,000 bond. Yeah. Insane. How can you not make anything else out of the whole? He's got so many videos of him and humans and animals. Maybe he's got a prescription for it, Daniel. Anyway, oh man, gosh. Hope you guys hate that too. Today's your birthday, happy birthday. See you guys, my friends. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Weekend too. Right. Oh. Do that. Switch arms. Well, and then it still fell apart. That's crazy. That is crazy! It gets done. What is happening? That is so This is cold.
where? I don't know what you're talking about. He's not. He said to stab with the knife. Which knife? The knife I just had? Because that knife fucking sucks at stabbing. Oh my god, there we go. Got it with the cleaver, finally, thank god. A weapon. Hey man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I got some, man, I got some tips for you. Okay.
Right.
I'm watching your content.
Thanks, brother.
That was a good work right there. You got double tap 9 because the dude with the helmet, if you get his accuracy down, you'll literally stab him in the chest and he'll bleed out. It's like a one shot. I'm telling you, it's like a one shot.
Okay, I'll start utilizing that more then.
Yes, sir, Steve.
Alright, brother.
Alright, bro.
Right now it's a snack for you guys. You helped me, yeah.
What did this one called?
No, I got it. Alright, I'll do more of the thrusting with the knife, but I've had no luck with it. It's so much better when it gives you an actual fucking weapon for these guys. Oh god, he's got the toothpick. Oh! Oh! Fuck! There we go. Alright, we're back to swinging that fucking flame. I'm just gonna do that the same thing. If he runs into me, so good. Outplayed. Finally moving on. Oh my god.
Spring never ends.
Oh my god, I
Water mirrors.
I actually just don't think it's possible. Unless I'm just built different. Let's see. Yeah, fine. Easy. Oh wow, ate a fat spoon there. Oh wow. You know, go talk to them. Go talk to them. They're saying mean things about you. That you're ugly and you stink. You're tacky and I hate you, idiot.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Pitchfork really is kind of fucking busted. Just look at the way I worked this guy. He's still alive. Blasted his fucking hat off. And it'll happen to you too. It's more likely than you might think. Oh, wow. You got me on the back step. Now, you see that back step? That was huge. Okay. Now, this is where legends are made. If I can pull this off with this fucking setup. Yep, that's immediately just KO'd. That feels impossible because the toothpick and the shield against that. Well, actually, just give me a candlestick. That's huge. Well, should have just grabbed the knife. Should have just grabbed the knife. Oh, fuck. There we go. Clean. Oh my god. What a beautiful decapitation. Textbook. We're already to the scythe guy. We're making good time. I am cooking. Go quietly. I know I don't need to do that, but I like doing that. It feels good. Okay. I'm very surprised that worked out well. That's so cringe and you know it. Let go of it, it's fine. Let go of it, it's fine. See? Oh. I said let go of it. Can you? Let's go. What? Went right through his head. He's achieved immortality. Oh! Wow, that dodge was unbelievable. And I missed the knife again. He's having a really hard time picking up this knife. There we go. Very clean, very clean. Yeah, hold him down. Oh, fuck. I got the wrong guy. Oh, there we go. That was a really cool series of noises he made when he lost, like, his upper respiratory system. That sounded like a fucking tentacruel. Oh my god. Excellent kick. I see you know your judo well. You already know the strat. Well, okay, I'll be back in a second. This guy's got great technique. I've come to bargain. You think you've mastered the candlestick, do you, Junior? Oh my god. That's a move. How did he just do that? I'm trying to kill the other guy. Hit him with the sharp end. That strength. That's what you fucking get. Oh my god, I just hit myself again. What the fuck? I couldn't get any charging going every time I went for the thrust. It just hit me. Oh, this is weird. Oh, hey, get your foot off of my arm. Alright, let's see how it does against the Reaper. odds with this one. Unless... Oh, boy. God damn it. What the fuck? Stab him. Stab him. Fucking stab him. Why don't you die? He's still He's gonna be so dizzy. Okay, this is really unlucky. I need to get up now. Please let go of my skull. Please let go of my skull. Get up. We gotta get the fuck out of there. I will take anything that's not what I currently have. Signature technique. Engage. That didn't work nearly as well as I had hoped it would there, but that's fine. We've got to just fucking rip it on this guy. I'm going to try and bait out an attack. God, his range is scary. It's so close. What? That's such baloney. What an amazing fucking rush from this guy. He's actually beating my ass so hard right now. Yep. That guy just went fucking crazy on me. Wow. Keep kicking him. Maybe we get out of this alive. There we go. Nuts now. We're in the nuts. Eventually, we'll pop those puppies. It's just a matter of when. Yep, just stay in there. Just stay in there. Keep tanking this shit. I can tell we're about to win.
Now they're about to win. Definitely losing.
Nice. Very clean, very clean. Alright, here we go.